Welcome to the Beantown Bully podcast. I'm your host, Basha, and let's get right into it. Talking about this for about, let's say, the past week, and the real question is, should they even sell physical discs for multiplayer games anymore? With servers going down, most people are even getting their games digital. Does physical multiplayer even make sense? Single player, yes. Reason why, single player. Well, you can go back and play the game, but you're downloading so many patches and updates and everything like that. Physical is just a dying media in general. So with games, for games to even play correctly, you have to get all these patches. So none of these games are coming out patch free without a day one patch anyway. Which, yes, there's that issue. But again, they can pull games off markets and stuff like that, so you won't even have the patch. Some games you can't even buy yet anymore, like Wolverine game. So there is some sense of making single player games at least physical still. Multiplayer games don't make sense because there's a shelf life for multiplayer games. Once the server goes down, nobody's playing anymore. Local co-op, if that's a thing, sure, but why would you buy a physical copy for a multiplayer game? Also, our game should be cheaper at that point because break the games in half. Single player is whatever it is. Multiplayer should probably shouldn't be anything more than $40. Put it out there for strictly multiplayer games. Now you might say, well, what about Battlefield? What about COD? COD has single player. Battlefield, was the price tag worth it for paying $60-$70 for it? That's a whole different story. I got it on PC, so I didn't pay that. But multiplayer in general doesn't really make sense because these games, the servers will go down, so they will be unusable. Just making your game digital, i.e. the multiplayer, like Warzone, it just seems like a better option. You can continuously patch it. I just feel like there's no need for a physical multiplayer game. Like, don't get me wrong, you can do it, but it doesn't make any sense. Halo came out with their multiplayer first, then the single player. They're technically two different games. Also, having the ability to install which part you want, if you're only going to play multiplayer or you're going to play single player, is clutch. Whoever thought of that, I'm pretty sure that's a Call of Duty thing. It's a thing I probably realized. It's clutch. Because that just makes sense in general. Because these games are getting bigger and bigger, and it just makes sense to have that. And if you're going to be strictly digital, should most multiplayer games go the free-to-play model? Now, Battlefield itself, everything's pretty much free because they're trying to keep the fan base happy and whatnot. Technically, besides the skins, but the guns and stuff like that, you just need to do what you need to do. Skins is pretty much paid for. You get into the battle pass, sure. That's not an issue. Skins, I don't feel like, again, if you want the skin, you don't want the skin. They give you enough variants. Don't get me wrong, the variants are not up to, but they give you the variants. At least if I'm talking about Battlefield right now for that. But there shouldn't be any updates. I mean, shouldn't be any physical for multiplayer and single player games. Should be split up now as two separate games. And the price should drop down accordingly for each. Again, if the game, well, they might not. They probably try to screw us over and be like, oh, we'll make this a single player game and then just break it up. So, and then charge us out the butt for both and give us both $70 games because there's been strictly multiplayer games, i.e. Battlefield that came out at $60-$70 and games like COD who had a single player and a multiplayer was $70 too. There should be some type of happy medium between the two. And again, with servers going down, just games aging out, again, it doesn't make sense to have physicals of these games if these games don't even have locals. Again, they don't have local couch co-op or they don't have servers go down. So at that point, it's just like, what's the point of having a physical game for multiplayer? Doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. For certain games, especially for let's say WWE sports games in general, forces the graphics can get better. That should be a patch and a patch upgrade for graphics, mechanics. If these games are going to use the same building blocks of the other games, but you're building on top of them, most of these games don't jump drastically from it. I'm fairly certain the COD graphics from Modern Warfare 1 and 2 are pretty much similar. But again, maybe some shader effects, things like that. That doesn't need a brand new game. That just needs an update patch. We've seen what people have been able to do with just patching. Look at No Man's Sky. If you played the original game until now, they're completely separate, different games. And again, patching did all that. And if your quote unquote game's gonna have all these patches anyway, what is this point of even getting a physical game if it's gonna be patched the hell out of after it's sent out? That makes sense. But I thought I would bring it in there. Fable. I haven't been keeping up with Fable talks. Again, I probably did talk about Fable in the last or a couple episodes ago, but I'm looking to see what's happening with Fable. What do I want to see in the new Fable? I want the lore to be the same. I kind of love the Fable lore from the originals. Hopefully, there's a couple people that come back. A couple, plot points come back. Are you still playing as the same character? Are you descendants from the main characters? That you're gonna have the dog again. Maybe you'll have a different animal as a pet. Fable to be top tier, and I needed to come back for vengeance. And I don't believe Starfield is gonna be it, but I believe in Fable. I want to believe Fable. I want to drink the green Kool-Aid. I want to bleed green and believe and hope that this game comes out and demolishes all the second guessing, all that talk about Xbox has no games. I want that to be like the one that be like, Xbox finally got one. Back for Blood. That wasn't it. And I wanted more from it. I kind of felt a little rush. It should have been a little more than what I expected. Overall, it's an Xbox Game Pass game. If it was going to drop out like this, definitely Xbox Game Pass. I think this is probably the standard if this is going to be an Xbox Game Pass game. Again, Xboxers want to push their first parties into Game Pass. I think that's the way, but let them do what they need to do. The Game Pass model doesn't really make sense with games, but Fable, it was one of those, like, it hit for me. Again, early on in this type of realm of gaming, don't get me wrong, they did have the evil light meter. I love games that give me that. I feel like, again, this is why I mess with BioWare games in general. I love games that give me that option, and it should continue. I just hope this time in Fable it hits. And since Gears has let me down, Halo has let me down, don't get me wrong, the multiplayer for those games are perfectly fine. Single player story, it is what it is. Now, should they even continue on with making Halo stories, maybe they should just have some Halo Arena type shooter game, which just be multiplayer. Like, just focus on the multiplayer for a bit, and then give yourself some breathing room on the story mode. That probably is the best option for Halo. Keep dropping updates for the multiplayer, or drop through variants for the multiplayer. Focus on the multiplayer alone for now, because we already know they scrapped. I believe they scrapped any DLC they were going to have for Halo because it just didn't make any sense. The open world thing, just top it up. That was a good attempt, but that didn't even That it wasn't even like it was an afterthought. I really feel like it was an afterthought. If you look at what the Destiny did, it looked like it was an afterthought. There wasn't enough there, and again, the storyline was phoned in. So that being said, what is left for the genre? You know, I should say the genre. What is left for Xbox? Starfield's supposed to hit, and hopefully it does well. I'm gonna play it because it's going Game Pass. As long as I have Game Pass, I'm gonna be playing all these games. I'm messing with Monster Hunter again. I'm actually enjoying that game. Monster Hunter is actually hitting the way it needs to hit. I know I'm going off a little bit, but right now Monster Hunter is where it needs to be. It's doing everything correct. I shouldn't do everything correct. But some of the moves they changed from World and Rise, I don't really agree with because I am a bow user. Again, maybe I just need to figure out the button combinations for these moves are again. But like the drop down move for the bow, that's still there. But running up walls and switching over and then doing your drop down move, landing on the beast so that you can just ride them instantly. I do massive because you should just do massive damage if you ran up a wall and just drop down on them. And that is missing again. I haven't played in so long because I got Monster Hunter World right when it came out. But again, I did enjoy all the skins like that. But if you go to the store on that game, it's crazy. A lot of these, typically, we probably could say Capcom, but Capcom and these anime games, the DLC for them is ridiculous. You can't even keep up, and that's clearly their big money maker. Damn near, at least in Monster, what I was looking at, there some of them was on sale and whatnot. Some on Game Pass. I'm playing the game for Game Pass, so that's what probably might be the fix to get all these games. At least the multiplayer games, because they're losing a shitload of money in being in Game Pass. That might be the fix to just have DLC, like outfits and stuff like that and skins that you sell on the side. That might be the combination, because most of them going into Game Pass didn't really take a dip because they have all the DLC, the skins, and people are gonna buy the skins. Remember, I'm fairly certain that they just don't give you the items when you buy. You think I should go farm the items still. You're wrong. But they did have, was it Ryu and Shakura skins? Had a bunch of, like, that was very entertaining that they have all these skins. So again, that might be the avenue for Game Pass. I know I jumped around a little bit, but while I was on Xbox and Game Pass, and just talking about how the company would even make money, that might be the only way they would make money. Now, I gotta talk about this talk about should Xbox sell, should Microsoft sell the Xbox division to another company? Now, gotta give props to Kid Smooth. If you guys don't know him, definitely follow him. He's definitely bigger than me, so it'd be very surprised if you guys don't know who he is. But the best spot, he made some valid points about Microsoft selling off Xbox to another company, because right now the leadership doesn't look like they know what they want to do with their gaming division. Don't get me wrong, they spent a bunch of money on it, but what do they actually want to do? What is their long goal? Because if they just want a Game Pass on everything, they don't need a console for that. You feel me? And maybe they should just stick to, making a digital storefront and just putting that all on all systems. Better option. Have a Steam storefront and everything. PC, PlayStation, Nintendo, even though Nintendo can't play a lot of games, having people buy into Game Pass to play all these games, take over. You know what? While talking about this, if Xbox wanted to, they should make games that only are on Game Pass. That's probably the only way they will make money. Games you have to be subscribed to play. They might make some Game Pass exclusives that you need the service to play that specific game. There's no physical option for it. You can't buy it digitally. That might be the way to fix Game Pass. Yes, I know I was talking about being sold off to somewhere else, and just thinking of this off the top of my head. Again, this is a lot of rambling, but that might be an option. And then again, back to Kid's move and his thoughts on maybe Apple buying it and then using it. Apple probably wouldn't do that, but they do push and lock you into their ecosystem. Xbox is trying to be more open about their ecosystem, and Google already bailed out. Amazon could take it. They dropped their free games. There is their little storefront for games. They're free games. I don't know. I haven't actually logged into the app to actually play any of those games that I got for free for them. But who could be up to the task of just taking over the Xbox division, and what would they do with it? Now, should they no longer have a console? Should it only fall over Nintendo and PlayStation? I don't think so. I think they should always be three. There should always be three. PCs, again, it's its own beast. I have my problems with PC. They want everything to play on like super old GPUs. Like, what happened to pushing the envelope? Again, they do want their numbers, but they should be like, hey, if you want to play this game, this is what you have to play on. Maybe they need to start doing drastic changes in the graphics for these games to be like, all right, this is why you need this. Because again, the PC exclusives are mainly trash. And games that don't have control support, why not? Respect Steam for at least having the control support option. Their team's working on it. So back to the Xbox thing. Xbox needs to. It's not about this. This is Xbox, Microsoft. They're not about this war, this console war, because they might be tapping out. This is second generation. They didn't drop with an exclusive. The first year of it dropping, they did spend all this money to keep all these people here. They can't make any of those games exclusive because the sheer amount of money they make. You don't have any console sellers. Halo was never a console seller, and you've put majority of your items on PC that you did have. Xbox is pretty much, again, I know that they have that midway between console and PC. Xbox is really trying to fill because they have more of their games on PC than any other console. I just feel like Kid's move was right, that at this point, if they don't have a real direction of where they want to go, because right now I feel like it's a wait and see. We're pushing into Game Pass, a wait and see approach. But look at the models that's been out. Netflix, Hulu, are these companies even really making money? Any of these streaming services, like Spotify, all these viewers, are they making enough money to even stick around? Plus, is putting up a way more money than the rest of them. This is from what I'm hearing. Like, nobody's paying billions of dollars for song catalogs. I think Netflix paid. I think they paid a lot of money for the Friends series and Seinfeld. I just feel like he had a point. If Xbox is not really into it, they don't have no real direction. It probably should be picked up by somebody else. Apple TV. If Apple TV's, they got the TV shows going. They're actually, if you're an Apple user, you're locked in because you're in all their items. So if Xbox was to join the Apple ecosystem, I think that would bring it up because the people who mess with Apple mess with it heavy. You have all their products. So why wouldn't you have their console? It would give them a stepping stone to be into the console race. Don't get me wrong, they're not going to be crazy good in the beginning, but they would with the way their customer base. If you have an iPhone, you definitely get an iWatch. With an iWatch, definitely get an iPad. You get the pencil. You get a Mac. You get a Book Air. You get a MacBook. Like, you get all these things to be locked into the ecosystem. And the people who lock into the ecosystem, they don't want to change. So they make everything stupid simple, that everything works the same way on all their devices. So it just makes sense that if they figure out a way to get Xbox into their ecosystem, into a seamless. So you get the Xbox, you get Game Pass, you get Apple TV, you mix that all in, you give you a little discount. That might do something. The people who already have the console now, this generation is pretty much dead for Xbox. As I see it, they may have some hits. Again, bringing back some of their old IPs may do it for them, may give them an uptick. But are these people who are still playing Xbox, are they actually beating their games? Are they actually giving their games a real try? Again, renting out the game. I think Game Pass kind of messed up. It should have been a rental for 24 hours, then cut it. Like a preview, like a full game preview for 24 hours, and then cut it. Or like a free play weekend or something like that. Then cut it, and then just bring it. I feel like Game Pass should be a thing that you bring games into when the game is no longer viable. So like a year later, probably 6 months later, you put it into Game Pass. Again, I said it twice. I think I said it a bunch of times. He was right, and if Microsoft doesn't actually have a game plan, they need to move on. Give it to someone else, because you spent all this money. Just recoup your money, sell it to them, get a couple billions off of it, wash your hand of it, boom. But it's going to be kind of crazy, because you would have to keep that storefront on Windows also. I know Macs want their things to be all in-house. So if they did do it, what does it look like going forward? They have to figure out how to break off working with Windows to just be a Mac-only ecosystem. And right now, I don't think they're prepared for that. iOS and iPhones, Apple, they kind of got what they need down pat. They're slowly trickling down into other avenues, like little things, just test the waters about how people feel about Macs. Like the Mac wheels, like little extras just that they were putting out there just to see if the customers would bite, and they've been biting. So it can't be too bad. Games and other media, movies, TV shows. I kind of want to just bring this back because they've been on a kind of a good run. A good run right now. Big screen, smaller screen, movies, TVs, and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, there have been some bad ones, Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, Bloody Rain, Double Dragon, Max Payne, Doom, the Halo TV show. Just some better ones, The Last of Us, Resident Evil series. They do have the animated series, which is also pretty good. Uncharted, The Witcher, which I've been following. Fallout, and Twisted Metal. Now, I've watched Twisted Metal, and I was just like, you know what? This is campy, fun. Again, it gives me that Z Nation type feel. Like, it wasn't a big production. Like, it was good, but I felt like they spent just the right amount of money on it, because it gave me that Z Nation feel, and I loved Z Nation. Z Nation was hilarious. Again, it didn't take itself too serious, but there were some serious moments. But again, it was just the right amount, and they tapped into it. Like again, I felt it was corny fun. I binge watched the whole series. I think Sunday. Sweet Tooth, the police officer. I'm not gonna know anybody's name. Anthony Mackie's character, Quiet. They were pretty good. Don't get me wrong. There was some funny. There was quite a few funny moments. You know, not I didn't say ha ha funny, but put a smile on my face, man. They were like, oh okay. They left it off like there is going to be a season two. I am interested in seeing where this series can go. Just again, they fit like a very niche that I like. It don't take itself too serious. It's entertaining enough for a watch. Like again, I wouldn't. I would just say like this. I would look forward to watching this every week. I don't think it's gonna be one of those. It's not gonna be like a hit like type loss. Like oh, everyone's talking about it, like this is this. But overall, if you have like if you have like a gap and you just need something to watch for a couple hours, binge watching these 8 episodes, I believe, it's a good option. Like, again, it literally it does just right, and it leaves you just enough that you're like it didn't overstay its welcome. It gave you just the right amount, and it left you feeling good. Like I didn't waste my time watching this. Because again, there's a lot of shows that it would just leave you off with this. I really just wasted my time even watching this garbage. This is not one of those cases. Now, Fallout, they're just making a Fallout TV show. Again, that game is so ambiguous. They can really make this into whatever they want. It's just in the universe, and it's just going to do whatever they want. Because again, what is Fallout basically? The main overall story that they need to stick to is literally just your character has to come out the vault. The vault is an actual story. Explain what happened. Again, I hope they use this time and play it just right and flush out the story. I think isn't it a Apple TV show called Silo, which technically you can say it's Fallout. Same premise. Literally just people have to go on the ground, blah blah blah. Again, with Fallout, it's gonna be so ambiguous with what they're actually asking for that they can. The sky's the limit with the writers. So if this ends up bad, it's literally just the writer's fault because they need to use so little material to actually complete their goal. Like if people say, "Oh, the Fallout TV show," okay, what do you expect from the Fallout TV show? Because the game is an open-ended game. Literally, you just being in the vault. And again, there's many other vaults throughout the world. So all you would need to do is stick to there being a vault, people underground in the vault, and that's it. Once they get out of the vault, the sky's the limit. That's when the writers will actually have to take in and start doing things. Now, yes, there's zombies. Yes, there's I don't think call zombies, but there's these other creatures and stuff like that. So Fallout does have some things, but the initial building blocks for Fallout, this in general, literally will take care of itself. It's probably like one of the best things they could have done with any series. Because again, there's not a lot of points they have to hit with Fallout to make it a Fallout TV show. It's not like Spider-Man has to have Mary Jane, Uncle Ben has to die, his grandma, freaking bit by a spider, the Osborns, Doc Ock. Like, there's staples in Spider-Man that they have to hit when they're talking about Spider-Man. With this, they can make brand new characters. They can set up all types of things. Again, I want it to be gritty. Again, if it happens to be campy and whatnot, that's cool and whatnot with me. I feel like TV shows that take themselves too seriously sometimes is miss the mark. But with Fallout, I believe in it. I believe that with the people, again, currently there's a writer's strike and everything like that. So that may be even pushed back anyway. But there was screenshots about it. So, again, I should be worried about it. But I'm saying, like, after the writer strike and everything like that, it's really the writers, the directors, like, it's an open canvas for them. They only have to really focus on the vault and getting out of the vault. After that, it's whatever they want. Because in Fallout, your guy, the person you play as, is not someone who's so integral to the world. Like, yes, they do go out and do things like that, but it's never like, I don't feel like any of the Fallout. So, let me just bring it back a little bit. I feel like Fallout has way more leeway than if they did Skyrim. Because Skyrim, you're Dragonborn, there's certain pieces you have to hit with story-wise just to have that whole Dragonborn thing. With Fallout, you don't have to hit none of those pieces. Like, there's no set pieces besides being in the vault and then getting out the vault. Everything else is whatever you want to write. So, I have high hopes for this in the fact that it's not restraint to the origin story of Fallout. Like, there's not a lot of information. Like, again, they can mention people from the games and stuff like that if they want. That's up to their choosing. They can create brand new people that wouldn't really affect the game, make a brand new cities and stuff like that. Again, there's a lot there for them to work with, and if they want to somehow tailor a thing about some of the storyline that was in one of the games, they can just put it in a brand new city, and they can reference the game, but put their own twist on it. And fans shouldn't be mad. But again, there's a lot there, and I'm very excited for what they can do with this. Again, I haven't watched any promo. I don't think there's any promo with this. It's just the screens that came out. Now, going forward, what other game properties I think they should have another show? Now, I would see some mini series. Top of my list is A Way Out. Love the story. It's something short and sweet. Give me like a good 6-7 episodes and just hit it. I think Kane and Lynch would also be a good option. Probably Kane would probably be a movie, but back to, I feel like those, like that storyline, everything would hit. Now, if you haven't played the game, I highly recommend that you played A Way Out. It's a short enough game, split screen co-op, i.e. couch co-op or online, like you can still see what the other person is doing on your screen, the way it's set up. And I'm very happy with again, this was a sleeper hit. A lot of people didn't really give it a shot, but I feel like this is the one that needs to happen. If they're gonna make it a TV show, again, it might not have the influence of the other things, but I feel like this is a sure bet if someone's gonna make a mini series anyway. You grab this, there's enough there that you can just do what you need to do. If you need to stretch out or something, you can put a little stretch out. But there's enough there that it can just give you the episodes you need. Again, mini series, respectable. Somebody needs to hop on this. I feel like Netflix needs to hop on this. Sony needs to hop on this. Even, I was going to say Microsoft, but Microsoft, whoever did Halo, I'm questioning a lot. I think it just needs to happen. It just needs to happen. Army of Two. Now, I really just want another game, but seeing a series would be good. I feel like Netflix should be the one to take this on. They did drop 6 Underground with Ryan Reynolds. I like that. I like the when they were wearing the mask. I like the way the camera was doing it. I felt like that director would be the person. The director and story, that person should be the person that takes this on. Again, I felt like they would do a good job on the Army of Two. Again, it could just be a simple mini series Netflix doesn't need to go crazy and drop all these episodes. Just short and sweet, boom. Titanfall. I need my BT. I need BT in my life. Titanfall will be something else. I don't know if TV, because they have to explain a lot in Titanfall, because part 1 did have a story, part 2 did. With Titanfall, while I was talking about all these shows, I do want them all to be live action, but if you want it to be animation, cool. Titanfall, I feel like would be an animation. The game did do it justice, but I want more. I want more from Titanfall. If they're not giving me another game, just give me this. And the reason why I even throw out Netflix as being one of the people who can make some of these happen is because they did a good job with what was it? What was that freaking over the top action game with the gods, or not League of Legends? Was it League of Legends? Whatever that show was. That was actually a good option. Gears of War. I really feel like this should be a movie. Give me that Gears 1. Give me that Gears trilogy. Or OG trilogy. The new ones you can put on the back order. You might as well even go up to 4. Actually, you can probably go up to 5. Let's just be honest. You probably can go up to 5. I just don't think 5 was a good enough to be a game. Like, that was side story at best. But Gears, I definitely would like to see Microsoft do something with Gears. Halo, again, if they were going to do this, they should have used a whole different Spartan. And I feel like it's just everything's tied to Master Chief. And they have other Spartans. I feel like they could have done something else. Maybe the guy showing his face so often, blah, 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 cool. They didn't have to do that. Maybe they could have just had him keep his mask on to the very end of the show, like the Mandalorian. The writing wasn't all that good. Maybe people wanted to follow the storyline from the games and everything they put in. Master Chief having a love interest. Yeah, none of that really made sense. Master Chief having sex didn't make sense. So it was just like, was the person who made the TV show actually watch or played the games? Because they just introduced, like, it was basically, let's just have a sci-fi love story, a sci-fi Romeo and Juliet type thing. I don't know. It was very nice. Don't get me wrong. I just want more content, and Marvel's been dropping a lot of subpar garbage, and I need my fix elsewhere. Now, let's talk about Lizzo, man. I kind of don't really think this is true, but it is entertaining. Because, again, that whole thing is weird. So, Lizzo has been verbally and sexually assaulting her employees, or having them do sexual acts, eating bananas out of strippers' pussies and assholes, from the information that's being put out there. Again, it sounds so crazy that I can't believe this is a real thing. But if it is, this will be the craziest twist in 2023 I've ever expected. Like, I've never expected this. This is how crazy this is. Remember, we're in that age of believe all women, so we have to take this seriously, right? If you're one of those who preaches believe all women, we're really gonna have to take this serious. And that sounds crazy, because there's people's been putting out information being like, yo, she doesn't want people to be fat phobic towards her, but she's fat phobic towards other people. That's what all their complaints are. And if this turns out to be true, which I kind of want it to be, because how crazy this shit sounds, this will be the biggest twist so far in 2023. Like, a fat bitch who hates other fat bitches, who's per, who's been saying all this body positivity type talk, but it only works one way, i.e., she'll want slimmer men to date her, but she's not dating anyone at her weight. Cool. Again, you can't have it both ways unless you're on this side of being like, you know what? I date what I want to date. It is what it is. But you can't be then calling I'm being fat shamed. No one wants to date me. Da 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 da. You can't be doing this. I'm thinking I'm probably more harsher on her. Well, I'm probably harsher on a lot of celebrities, is because they keep running to the internet and start crying about their problems. Again, I'm talking about actual tears. Not like explaining what the scenario is, just actually crying, tears coming down their face. That's my problem. Like, why do you think it's okay for you to come to the internet and then start crying, and then post your crying? When anyone does that, I just feel like it's so weird that you would do this, that I can't believe your stories. Again, I dislike Lizzo for other things, like, i.e., her trying to flip the script on, she wants to, like, literally. Here's the thing. Majority outfits she puts on, they're not complimenting her body. That's how I actually feel like, hey, Lizzo's Lizzo. But sometimes she'll wear an outfit, I'm just like, yo, you damn near, this outfit would be bad for someone with less weight, but it's extremely worse for someone at your weight. And again, if her showing off her body like that makes her feel happy, cool. There's a place for all that. Like, there's places for all that. People can complain. Again, I'm not a prude about certain things, but I'm like, you can't have it one way. Like, oh, you can't have. Again, this girl literally had her ass cheeks out at a a basketball game. But at a football game, things nipple showed and people went crazy on it. So I'm just like, again, what's happening here? Because what the outfit she was wearing, you couldn't even see the line. So I'm just like, what is going on? But I digress. I'm moving off the point. Now, she's really doing this. She's a level of toxic that I think I love. I love this level of toxicness. Now that if this is truly her, again, if this is truly her, I might be a fan. And I'm being a fan because she contradicts her whole lifestyle, and just to be this evil, manipulative person who's like, fuck it, I'm rich. All you fat bitches who dancing behind me, you're gonna start doing this. You might as well just start hooking for me, dog. And if it gets this bad, if the story gets even worse, I want the story to be worse. I want it to be worse. Again, I'm still on the side that it's not actually a real story. I feel like I really want it to be worse because this is. If she was been a villain this whole entire time, because again, she's been fighting for all these things, and if she's been a problem all these times, this would be a great story. A great story. Realistically, I don't think a lot of people's going to pick it up because people's been caping for her for so long. I doubt that people's just going to be like, oh, da da da. Even if it comes out to be true, how far people going to turn their back on her? I want her villain origin story. Actually, this isn't be a villain origin story. No, you know what? Probably it is. If people have been telling her this, and that, and she finally just snaps, and she becomes the monster she's been trying to face this whole entire time. We come to find out none of this is anywhere, so I'm putting a little sauce on this. Come to find out that she's out here forcing these bitches to eat like McDonald's in front of her. Like, pour that gravy down your gullet, you fat slob. If she starts talking like this shit is going to be top tier comedy. Don't get me wrong, she will be a horrible person if she did all these things, including the shit I just added on. If she did any of these things, she is a horrible person. But the entertainment value, like, she wanted these bitches to eat cake in front of her. Like, remember, she's like mentally, like, she's, again, supposedly she does a lot of exercise and everything like that and whatnot. So maybe she just, like, it broke her and she just started liking people to eat like unhealthy foods in front of her, and then like just eating it wasn't good enough. She has to belittle the person eating it, like on some real creepo shit. I'm gonna be honest, this shit sounds hilarious, but again, I don't believe it's true, but it sounds good. It sounds good because it's entertaining to me. Like, could you imagine if this was always her? She just repressed it, and then when she tried to be on a healthier lifestyle, because when she was supposedly trying to get healthier, people were turning her back on her, like, oh, why are you doing this now? Da 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 da. Like, so people started getting mad at her. Maybe she's stuck in this weird situation that she has to stay big. Again, I don't know any of this information. I'm just putting this out there. If she just has to stay big because of the people who follow her, because she makes her money off being big, and if she got skinnier and healthier, people would be angry at her and believe that she turned her back on her quote-unquote community, and she grown to resent her own community because they're forcing her to stay fat, and she just snaps one day. Again, villain origin story, her villain arc, that she's just like treating fat bitches subhuman, that she just snaps inside, be just walking around with donuts and just smushing it in people's faces, be having our dancers like fucking practice for hours, then give them like the most unhealthiest shit to eat, and just put like gravy and salt on all their shit. Everything they have to eat, like, she'll buy all the food and it has to be like super saturated, greasy foods, finger licking foods, and then she just goes off. That little pause, I thought to myself, I was just like, yo, this sounds so crazy that this might be a fetish type thing. She might get off on all this. That's fucking crazy. Again, I don't know any of this to be true, but her villain arc just makes me want it to believe. I know I said it like multiple times, I don't believe it to be true, because it's so wild. I don't believe it to be true, but the two people, again, with her being accused of all these things, does she even have to face her accusers? Because there's a lot of things that, like, technically, that's sexual assault. Is it sexual assault? Well, is it sex trafficking? Did she use her power and influence over her dancers, and force them to do things that they didn't want to do? We can look at it again. Some of these girls who are thicker, like, she employs a lot of them. That community, it's gonna be very weird. Like, if more people come out, it just changes the whole thing, because it's like she's actively searching for these type of women, and I don't know if they would even get that level of light or look because of their size. Like, don't get me wrong, there's like plus size women and everything like that. I don't know if that actually does anything for marketing. People need to, again, I can't talk on any of that. But marketing in general, I don't know if it really does anything with them being plus size and stuff like that, when modeling and stuff like that. But again, it's a very weird predicament, and I kind of want it to be true. Like, I really do want it to be true, and I want it to be so bad. I'm sorry for the women if this is all true, but I want it to be so bad that they have to make a Netflix documentary on it. Like, surviving Lizzo. Surviving Lizzo. And then she had to take out that part of her song when she was talking about getting sued, or again, she has a bunch of NDAs out. While you're rich or whatnot, you kind of need to have NDAs, because if you just want to do basic shit, you don't want people just telling all your shit out. Cool and whatnot. But since the lie, quote unquote, I don't believe it's real, the lie is more entertaining than the truth. Because if she did do any of these things, it's like, all right, cool. But the lie is so entertaining that they need to go in deeper. I hope they have the facts for all these things. Like, I hope so, because again, they put themselves in a predicament, and will Lizzo even face her accusers about these things? Because they've been very weird about accusers facing certain people during court cases. So it's been very weird that about this, like, people can be unknown and make all these claims about a specific person. That's weird. But again, Lizzo being a villain. Oh wait, not being a villain in the beginning, but being the good person, She's lived long enough to be the villain. And that shit is crazy. Crazy that just the way that they even thought this up, out of control. So I want it to be true, yes, and I want it to be even worse. It's fucked up to say I want it to be worse. Holy shit. Like, I'm actually smiling, dog. From ear to ear. Like, I'm grinning from ear to ear right now, because I want the story to be worse, so that when it all ties together and all the people who supported her look kind of crazy. Again, most likely people just looking for a check. She probably fired some people. That's pretty much the story, and people felt some type of way, and like, all right, fuck it. Well, we know there's a certain group of people who really just go at Lizzo left and right. Yo, I just have it in my timeline not to even see anything about Lizzo. I probably should take that off to see what all the memes are and everything like that. But I got to the point, I was like, yo, I just don't care about Lizzo fighting a good fight or whatnot. Like, I don't care about that. But again, if she was the White Knight, then became that Dark Knight, whoo. I need that Netflix better be ready. Who also? You guys be jumping out the window with these half-ass stories. I felt, you know what? Why haven't any of these, like, TV shows or whatnot did their spin of these type of crimes like that? There should have been like a little thingy about Meg shooting Tory. There should be someone who's out there who's just doing these type shits. Like, yo, this is the newest hotness out here. Let me just do a quote unquote reenactment of whatever they're talking about and just throw it on the web. You know how crazy it would be if someone was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're about to just put this out here. This is the story about for Lizzo, and just do a quote unquote reenactment of her just being off the wall, like throwing drinks at bitches, having them eat greasy ass food at like fucking 12 in the morning, just degrading these bitches, throwing empty chicken bones at bitches, throwing bologna on their ass, just doing the craziest and wildest shit on just like, this has to be like a fucking, what's it called? What the fuck is it? You know, one of those lowbrow show reenactments. Someone needs to hop on this. This is bigger than me. This is for the entertainment of the people, dog. I kind of feel like this right here that I'm even spitting out, somebody else has to take it. Again, I'm not the man to produce these type of things, but I am an idea guy. Someone needs to hop on these things and just start throwing out reenactments of all these things. It's just funny to me. Someone throw out a reenactment of what happened with everything that we know what happened with Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, everything that we know about Jay-Z in the elevator with Beyonce and Solange, fucking subways at fucking 10 Below getting getting beat up and fucking bleach thrown on them by Justin Smollett. Like, these things all need reenactments. I feel that someone is not tapping into these things, though. I only want these type of things for Pacific. I only want these type of things for Pacific stories that we do not already have video for. And a lot of new context come out, and someone needs to drop it. You know what? I probably wouldn't even need real people, but real people would be funny. If someone would just use the stick figures or the little cartoon animations and just hop on this and just drop this with like news and shit is happening. This, I feel like someone has to be doing this already, but this shit would be top tier. If anyone listens to this, just please, if you're gonna take this idea, just please, hey, just mention me. Just mention me that I put this out there. All right, that was the last topic. Thank you again for listening, or if you're watching it. I don't know where I'm gonna put this right now. To the Beantown Bully podcast. I'm your host, Basha, and have a wonderful day.